Here you go.
We're live. You play my song?
Yeah, it's already been played. You're good. We're live.
Live, like I could say good morning to the listening audience.
Yes, yes, please.
Oh, okay. All right. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and happy new year. What do Puerto Ricans say? Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Hang on, Jen. I why can't find what I'm looking for and then um oh Lord. Let's see. Let me turn this down so I don't confuse myself. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And how's everybody doing this wonderful Saturday morning? It is Saturday, January 3rd. And if you guys are tuned in, you are listening to me through technology. Yes, yes, yes. So, good morning, St. Croix. I love you guys. I miss St. Croix. But I'm happy. But just know that I miss you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. As usual, I'm always happy to be here. Talking to you. It is a new year. And everybody to do New Year's resolutions. I don't do New Year's resolutions because typically I mess up my New Year's resolution like on day one. It's just, and then, then I would have to start next year with the New Year's resolution all over again. So that really makes no sense to me. So I just don't do New Year's resolution. If I want to change a behavior, I'll just go ahead and change the behavior, and then down the road we go. Um, However, for those of you that do New Year's resolutions, I I truly don't have any issues with you doing New Year's resolutions. Like, I'm all down for it. If you like it, I love it. I just can't do it because I lack discipline. I truly do. There's some areas in my life where I lack discipline to do something regularly. Because if I had discipline, I would be skinny, I would be buff, I would have one of those types of goddess figures that I would be looking like Megan the Stallion. Let's just be honest. I think that if there's anybody's body in the industry that I would want, it would be Megan the Stallion. I just like her body. Just, I don't know if she's had work. I don't know if she's had work. It don't look like she had work. Her body looks, natural. I'm all here for her body. Like, if give me that. But it is what it is. And so it is a new year. I want to wish everybody a happy new year. Before we start, I told you guys today's Saturday, January 3rd. I want to say happy birthday to my brother Edwin George Bernard Russell the third. That's my brother. So if you guys see my brother Eddie, y'all know him as Eddie Danger, whatever y'all know him as. If you guys see him today in Frederickstead while you're out on the parade route, tell him his baby sister. I said, how does it feel to be a full year older than she is now? um, so my brother's birthday is today. So Eddie, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Thanks for being a really good brother to me. You defend me. Um, yeah, fiercely, and you love me deeply, and for that I you know I don't know what to say other than I love you. You get me vexed sometimes, you annoy me sometimes. I'm typically upset with you because you're so smart, but I still love you. All right. All right. So good morning, Tom Dorsey. How are you? I'm glad I'm not the only one that does not do um I don't do the whole New Year's resolution, because you do a New Year's resolution at midnight, but I promise to exercise more. And come 8 o'clock the morning when you wake up, you're like, tomorrow I'm gonna go to exercise. So I just I don't do them. But for those of you who do, yay! I don't. I would be, if you look up a definition for failure at New Year's resolutions, that would be me. I want to thank all of you who went out yesterday to support the children's parade. By our reports that I've received, there were a lot of people well, let me not use a lot of people. There were more people than customary lining the streets of Fredericksted to support our children who participated in the parade. For that, I'm eternally grateful. I think that I've been doing the children's parade for a minute now, and I may not do the adults parade, but I will definitely go down to support the children at the children's parade. I think I started doing the children's parade when Ken Map came into office, and I did a troop for children with disabilities, and I saw how important it is to really go out. I don't like the parade. The sun to be hot. You know, you could find a million excuses to not go. Nobody likes to be hot. Nobody likes to not have a bathroom facility when you need a bathroom facility. But for the children, sometimes you have to make the sacrifice, go out, enjoy the parade. You know, go out and enjoy yourself and get drunk, and it don't have any bathroom facilities. So to go out for a couple of hours and support the children isn't a big ask. So I want to thank all of you who went out to do that. I appreciate what you did for the children yesterday. All right. And today is the adults parade. And I know that people gonna want to be mad at me. And I've been saying it, and I'm gonna continue to say it. And who vexed dead, who dead bury. I probably won't come to your funeral. You won't be able to come to mine. That's okay. But I think that we are losing a lot of ourselves. I saw somebody about the Juve talk about not having Virgin Islands Bram music and they on the Juve route at the start of the Juve or whatever. And y'all know how I feel about that. I am all about Virgin Islands and Virgin Islands culture, Virgin Islands tradition, Virgin Islands music. Anybody that knows me knows I will have a screw face for the entire night if I go to a function and all the DJ playing is music from other places. I just go up and ask. You have this, you have that, you have shoot. When I attend these national conferences, I tell the DJ, hey, do you have access to Wi-Fi? Can you go on YouTube? Can you find? I tell you, I was at MBCSL and I had them play Pompa song. And, you know, so many of the black people in, you know, it's black, the National Black Caucus of State Legislators. So all of them are black, clearly, but a lot of them name N in an A. And when you teach them to bend right over, when they hear that song, they bend right over. Some of these representatives represent people from the Caribbean. And, you know, this last year in Mississippi, one of the representatives went to the Virgin Islands Day in Florida, Orlando, that area, someplace through there. And she's like, and they played the song, and I knew the song, you know, and I knew the dance. Now, mind you, I didn't tell them they had a dance, right? But, you know, if y'all know Black Americans, they have a line dance for everything. And all I tell her is when you make the A, you bend right over, right? She's like, and I knew the dance. So, you know, we have to promote ourselves. I am not ashamed of it. I don't care. I have seen, I would tell, you know, you can ask them, I would tell people to the face, I don't really like your music. You know, I don't like Marshall Manta. I know people love him. I don't like his music like that. It's all right. You know, I am not one of those that'll be jumping up saying, I have to go see Marshall Montano. I respect what he does for the genre. I appreciate all of that. But I mean, he don't move my cheese. I have a cousin that love Kess the band or Kessel. You know, I thought Kess was one person. Apparently it's a whole band. That's to tell you how much I don't study them, right? I like their music. It's okay. I hate that song, Hello. Like, hate it. You polite, I vex, right? But, you know, I appreciate Virgin Islands music. I don't know, it's something, I don't care if it's our rhythm box. I like the, what? You know, that like nice, like, chuck. Yeah, nobody don't have a chuck like the Virgin Islands. So who vex dead and who dead bury? Like I said, I like it. It wasn't nothing. Like when you go to an old VIO, old enforcement, a jam band, and in the middle of the night, after the first set done and the DJ come in and do some reggae, and the band come back and you know jam about to done, and they let off that rhythm back and you're there, oh, and you're under sweat. No, I can't dance clearly, right? But give me one cup of something and I feel like I have all the rhythm in the world. And so I am going to be a proud Virgin Islander until the day I die. I'm gonna support Virgin Islands music. I'm gonna support Virgin Islands artists. There are so many talented Virgin Islanders that I think that our carnivals should highlight who we are as a people. I was talking to somebody day before yesterday, and they told me that there's a list of carnivals that you must attend in the Caribbean. And for the first time, the Virgin Islands didn't make the list. St. Croix and St. Thomas Carnival for 2026 dropped off of the list. And we want to be a Xerox copy, a carbon copy of every place else that we lost what brought people to us, our unique culture. I saw it on full display when Stanley went to St. Thomas. There's an appreciation for who we are. And if we show people our authentic, real selves, they're going to like us just the way we are. We don't have to be like everybody else. I don't know since when powder has become part of carnival juve. Like we could walk up without all our powder. Who wants to go pay for a hairdo? Because all I girls to pay for hairdo. Clearly, y'all see, I don't pay for none. I need a box of color now because these gray hair poking out. I need to see if my boyfriend from the comic book page, he said he buying me a bag. No, what he said he buying me? What it is a bag he buying me? No, ain't a bag. What he said he buying me, Jen?
Oh, I didn't hear that part, but I know
my boyfriend, he said he buying me something. Well, he need to buy me a box of dye too. Since he gonna be my new little boyfriend, I need to let you know all the things that I need. But who wants to have to go to the juve with a shower cap on their head so their hairdo don't mess up? No, sweat. We don't mind being messed up by sweat. But all that stupidity powder, who the hell want powder on them? Then you go home to try to scrub it off. You're in the shower for days. All kind of color water coming down. You have to bathe extra long. Well, some of y'all don't need to bathe extra long. But I'm just saying, nobody really likes that. And we're losing so much of who we are. And we need to show up as our authentic selves every day. Good morning. Hey, Yamelsa, how are you? See, Yamelsa, my sister. I'm telling you, she talks about this all the time. Be who you are. Nobody can be who you are better than you. So just let us be Virgin Islanders. We can highlight our talent. I'm not saying don't bring in acts. I'm saying that's fine. But when tilt to our costumes, like we don't have anybody in the Virgin Islands that could design costumes. We have remarkable designers on St. Croix. We have that's how I met Jamal Drummond when Complex had their first carnival troupe, and my friend who was a young teacher was like, "Oh, my students doing a carnival troupe," and we were here doing with Danica. They were doing arc, and I always get hauled up. One of my friends always call me to do something, and then Carter be doing some other things, and so I went there and they had me making costumes with paper mache and all of this stuff designed by Jamal Drummond and all of that down at the complex. And so we have remarkable talent in the Virgin Islands, and we need to be proud of who we are and stop trying to be other people. Stop it. Just be good and be proud to be a Virgin Islander. I don't want to be a Trinidadian. I don't. At all. I happy being a Crucian. I happy being a Virgin Islander. So why should we in our village? Why is it that when the DJs come up to play, all we hearing is music from every place else but the Virgin Islands? That does get me vexed. And you can ask everybody in festival. they just get cussed out from me on a regular. This is a regular rant every year, and I'm going to continue to do it until you, the people of the Virgin Islands, decide that you want to have Virgin Islands pride and you are proud of Virgin Islands music. I am sorry, I will put Daddy Jones up against any rhythm man, anybody who does write music, any place in the world. I will put DJ Avalanche up against anybody. Bring your DJ. You bring your DJ. We have Grammy Award winning artists in Timothy and Theron, you know, who I've known since they were what was the other name before they were Rock City? Too Equipped? No. Lord, they were young. He was a little baby then, because I feel so much older than he is, right? And they are super talented. We have talent coming out our pores. Let's tap into it. Let's tap into our own. I'm not saying that you can't bring other people, but let's tap into our own first. That's all. But go out and enjoy the parade. You know, hopefully there'll be some troops that display Crucian pride, Crucian culture, Crucian heritage. You know, you've seen one feather, you've seen them all. That's you know, yeah. One set of feathers, you've seen them all. One set of bead, you've seen them all. You know, I'm just saying. Good morning, Carolyn. How are you? Yes. See what my sister said? Our own have to support our own too. That's what I just said. I will keep preaching until you start to have Virgin Islands pride. It begins with us. And if we don't have the pride in the Virgin Islands, nobody else. I am sorry, but I know I'm in a minority. I just don't. It's so slow for me. I don't like Trinidad music. It's so slow. It don't have a good walk-up beat to me, you know.
You have a call.
Who calling me? Why are they bothering me? Good morning.
Go ahead, caller.
All right.
You're not talking, Jen.
Go ahead, caller.
Okay. Morning, Jamila. What's up?
Hey, Rafael Conero, what's going on?
Not a thing going on. I'm bothering you. I in 300% with you because I just say the same thing every year, and that's what's turning me off from Carnival. You hear? And the thing is I blame in tourism for this. You know, the festival people are going to become from the time I hire you for tourism to play in the village thing as a DJ. You got to play our music.
And then some of them to be so brazen to say they don't have
music and kids music and all these kind of things. And it's our own DJ them playing this stupidness, you know. Ain't to say that it's bringing other DJs from away. It's our own DJ them is what playing this thing in the you know what years they saying this thing? And everybody the bibliography, man, stop you disgusting. Ain't nothing but disgusting. We got so much music here, and we're gonna be playing you in Trinidad or St. Kitts or one of them places. No man, I ain't for that at all. And it's years this thing going on. So tourism, our festival need to put on that thing. Look, when we hire you, you got to play our music.
Yeah. And I'm not. And again,
I mean, this thing is crazy, and people will be like, man, look, I don't say we will want to hear them. Jamila, you could name me 5 songs the music for St. Croix Carnival this year, because you know me, I don't even know what band have a song. You don't hear nothing promoting on the radio station them. What the name of the bands them is that playing this year and the song them? You could tell
well,
them?
I don't know the names of the song, but Vayo get one, and I don't, you know, I don't.
I mean, this thing is like madness. I mean, I listen to kind of different radio stations, and like I can't even say 5 songs. That is what play for St. Croix Carnival this year, like what could be rude match.
Yeah, Vayo have a really good song.
I tell you, our thing going totally, and I agree with you with that Jewish stupidness. Why you going to do paint and powder and all them retarded nonsense? We never used to do them things back in the days. We never know nothing, no paint and powder and all them craziness. We know 10,000 people coming here in Jambat.
One time, 10,000 strong.
Paint and powder and things. And when you say these things, people will get mad with you, but I sorry, mister. That's why I don't even care to go in no village that thing no more. I think like that. I am not Jamila. I think I don't need to be hearing any turn load of Trinidad music in my head. No man, I could keep that, mister. I'd stay home, stick in my job, my jamban and Imachi and 17 M jump drive, and I comfortable with that. Listening to our music. I ain't got time going in the village to hear them craziness. But best to the new year to you and Shashamane and your whole family and everybody and the whole of the why are you the why radio station what not a reef? What is her name?
WSTX radio.
WSTX, yeah. I don't listen to so much radio station.
Caledonia Communications.
Radio station, the best for the New Year health and strength. So Jamila, you keep up the thing. I guess me and you only two till simply disgusting because for years I preaching the same thing, but the day you study me every year come is the same DJ them playing the same stupidness in our village. And I ain't good with that. So you enjoy the rest of the day, Jamila. Take care now.
All right. Okay. Bye-bye. Yeah.
You have the next call.
Please leave a message.
The person said, please leave a message, Jen. They might want to talk to me.
Oh, here, hold on. It's coming now. Here we go.
Good morning.
Good morning. Go ahead.
Yes, okay. Good morning, Jamie. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes. Jamila, good morning. How are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well.
Yes, the one and all. I just tuned in and I heard you and Rafi, and I have to agree with what you all saying. I go all over for carnivals, Rio, Trinidad, you name it, and all they play is their music. But you see, we got a thing in the Virgin Islands. We feel that if a big band don't come from someplace else, we can't have a good carnival or a good festival, and it's a bad thing. But I guess this is what we have allowed ourselves to come to. Now, could I just switch just a little bit, only because around this time a year, your grandmother, Yuli Rivera, comes to my mind. That was a lady, as I explained, was the vice chair of the Housing Authority Board when I was the executive director. And we were at a winter session one time on the hill, up on Capitol Hill, where we were testifying before HUD National, as well as a Congressional Housing Committee for more funds for the Virgin Islands. And it had started to snow. And I laugh, I remember it so much that Yuli Rivera, who I used to call my mommy, she came to my room, because she was already ready to go up on the hill, and she came down to my room while I was getting ready, and she's looking through the window at the snow falling. You know, and I mean, that picture comes to my mind all the time. And another thing that brings to mind, it was Yuli Rivera, a Croatian, as well as Charles McBean, a Croatian, that put their tongue, not literally, on the rest of the board when Farley forced them to ask for my resignation. It wasn't about me. They wasn't protecting me because my name was Ned. They were protecting the needs for the Virgin Islands and who were bringing in the most valuable money. But this is a thing we have. All it says we got to correct 2026. If we Virgin Islanders don't correct these things, crapple, smoke, we fight. Thank you, Jamila.
All right. Thank you for calling in. Thank you for sharing those thoughts about my grandmother. I appreciate it. All right. But so again, I don't want for anybody to believe that I don't think that you should enjoy Carnival. I don't think that you should incorporate, and evolve. But I think that we have become so far removed from who we are that you can't even put a mirror up and recognize the Virgin Islands Carnival or St. Croix Crucian Christmas Festival or the St. John celebration as something that's authentically Virgin Islands anymore. It's like they have literally taken the tourism motto about and maybe the national motto about us being the melting pot of the United States and the Caribbean, and just make it this kucherry what how you gonna say that word, Jen? That board at everything, a smash mug of everything. I help me with a word now. I have a fancy word. Yes. So you know, I'm not particularly fond of it, but I think that we have to continue to support our own. All right. Just a quick thing. I'm probably going to have to mute for and take the camera off for like 30 seconds if I may have to go and grab my mama because I'm still at her place and I have her key. So I may have to go and open the door for her, but she's so fancy. She have a lock thing on her phone and thing up in, she acting all fancy here in the ATL. So I'll be back Saturday in the studio in St. Croix, just so y'all know. I will be back in the studio on St. Croix. All right. So that would be next week. There's a lot happening in the world, and so while I want everybody to go out and celebrate, I know that you may have woken to some news this morning that the United States, it's being reported, very perplexed, very disturbing news. What my app there? Hold on there. Okay. I had it really saved. And I'm going to be reading from the WTJX.org website. You guys can go and follow it. You can download their free app. They're our free public broadcasting station in the territory. So if you go to news, right, and under you scroll down, they have the news feed, which is our local stuff. They have two, the radio one, the digital one. Then they have the NPR headlines. Then they have PBS NewsHour. And under BBC, they have reporter in Caracas describes hearing. And if you click on that link, but before I go to that one, let me read the other one. It is, where is it? First report, Jamila. You damn. Okay, I tagged it, Okay. It says 9 minutes ago, it was on the BBC, says what we know about Maduro's capture. So for those of you who have been just getting up and just gone to Facebook and was like me, I got up, and typically on Saturdays, I get up and I try to get my Just Jamila page set up. You could ask Jen, I'd have to go look up my password every week because I don't have it. I need to download the app. I'm going to do that better this year. I saw a story about the U.S. has captured Maduro. I was like, capture Maduro? Like, I was like, oh, fake news. And I kept scrolling. And then I got to WTJX and I saw on Facebook that WTJX is reporting. And if you go on their Facebook page, you will see that they have shared the story. And no, not the parade. I don't want to see the parade. So let me share this. It says, it said in a post on Truth Social published early this morning, Trump said the U.S. had, quote, successfully carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela and its leader, President Nicolas Maduro, end of quote, adding that Maduro and his wife had been captured and flown out of the country. So I saw that on Channel 12, and they had a link to the story. And so, I went to get all of the rest of the melee, right? So what's happening is, according to the NPR story that's linked there, it says U.S. hit Venezuela with large-scale strike, captured Nicolas Maduro, Trump says. and it's a developing story, clearly. President Trump claimed overnight that the United States carried out airstrikes in Venezuela and captured President Nicolas Maduro following a series of explosions and fires reported around Caracas in the early hours of the morning. In a post on Truth Social published early Saturday morning, Trump said the U.S. had successfully carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela and its leader, President Nicolas Maduro, adding that Maduro and his wife had been captured and flown out of the country. Trump said the operation was conducted in conjunction with U.S. law enforcement and announced a news conference for 11 a.m. Eastern Time at Mar-a-Lago. The Venezuelan government swiftly accused the United States of launching what it called a grave military aggression against the country. In a statement posted on Telegram, the government said U.S. forces targeted civilian and military locations in Caracas, as well as in the nearby states of Miranda, Aragua, and La Guaira, calling the alleged attack a flagrant violation of the United Nations Charter. Videos circulating on social media platforms and first-person accounts indicate the blast began around 2 a.m. local time, 1 a.m. Eastern time. A journalist in Caracas, who NPR are not naming for safety reasons, told me they woke up to 2 explosions at La Carlota military airport, located across the street from their home. They saw 2 fires on the runway that were quickly extinguished. Immediately afterward, they reported hearing similar detonations in other parts of the city and planes flying low over Caracas for at least an hour. Okay, I don't have to put y'all on mute for a second so I can get my mom in. I will be right back. Jen,
Yeah, I'm here.
can you play my song for a second?
Yeah,
I'm coming right back. Let me get my mother in the building.
Okay.
Okay. I'll be right back. Play commercial something, Jen. I'm coming right back.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. Wait, no. Wait, how do you just... Okay.
What happened here?
Okay. Well, you're really muted. I think
Okay,
you could
hold on.
hear me, maybe. Okay.
They can hear you.
Okay. I'm going to get... I'm coming.
Hold on, I'm getting the song up now.
Okay.
Here we go.
Okay. Okay, Jennifer. I realize to beat me. I I'm back. Yeah. Nobody or Jamila. Nobody.
Yeah, you're live.
Okay. And thank you guys for good morning. We're back, and if you guys are just tuning in, you're at 9:70 a.m. on your radio dial. My absolute favorite place for you to be listening to me at, or you're tuned in at WSTXradio.com. You're following me on my Facebook page, and I am coming to you via stream from the ATL. Don't get me wrong. I am happy that I'm here. I'm happy that, like, I'm having a wonderful time. My son to make plans for me, like, on a regular basis. Like, Chappie get me jantin. He to make plans for every day. And, like, I don't know how, I am so different from the rest of the people, and my mother's child, my mother's other child, and her grandchildren, because I don't plan nada. Like, I just get up, and whatever I feel like doing, I'm going to do. These people, they love a plan. Oh, Jesus Christ! They get me plan. I asked my brother, you to plan to go to the bathroom too? Like, they just plan everything. Like, there's no spontaneity, nothing. And so for the last two plus weeks, or however long it's been, the month I've been here now, they have had, they're just, I am planned out. Okay, they just plan everything. I'm like, I just sometimes just get up and just want to just, like, today I feel like, and let's, oh no, they'd plan everything. I make the mistake last night of saying, they're like, oh, my brother is doing something today by his house before I leave. And, and I'm like, well, let's just go with the flow. When we get it, we get it. They're like, oh Lord. Okay. But anyways, I'm planned out. I'm gonna tap out of the planning business. I'm clearly not like these other people. I'm not. I don't know. I might be adopted. I truly believe I might be adopted because I'm not like them. They're just too organized for me. But yes, good morning. Um, so, uh, so again, let me go back to, we're talking about what. So if you guys are just missed it, good morning, Ilma Rajas. Good morning, Carolyn. Good morning, Regina. Good morning, folks. Everybody listening. I am back, and I'm on the WTJX app. Well, I was until I called Jen. And the BBC, you can go down to the BBC, and the BBC is reporting that the US captured Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro after a large-scale strike on the South American country. US Donald Trump said Venezuela's left-wing president and his wife were flown out of the country in a military operation with US law enforcement. His comments came after explosions were reported across capital Caracas in early hours of Saturday morning. And the U.S. has accused the Venezuelan president of being personally involved in drug smuggling and being an illegitimate leader, while Maduro has accused the U.S. of intimidation. Here's what we know so far. How do we know about the operation? This is reported by BBC. There are a few details about Maduro's capture. Trump did not disclose how the Venezuelan president was detained or where he has been taken. Maduro was captured by the U.S. Army's Delta Force, the military's top counterterrorism unit, According to the BBC's U.S. news partner CBS, Trump is due to hold a press conference, like I said, today at 11 o'clock. According to Republican Senator Mike Lee, who spoke to the U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Maduro will stand trial on criminal charges in the U.S. Rubio, anticipates no further action in Venezuela now that Maduro is in U.S. custody, Lee said, adding that the strikes were deployed to protect and defend those executing the arrest warrant. Around 2 local time, loud explosions were heard in Caracas while plumes of smoke were seen rising over the city. Videos of the explosion and helicopters flying overhead have been circulated on social media, but they have not been verified as yet. Reports of places hit by strikes include military airfield La Carlota in the center of the capital and the main artillery base of Fuerte Tiuna. Surrounding communities were also without power. It is not known if there have been any casualties. The Venezuelan government also said the states of Miranda, Aragua, and La Guaira were also hit. So you can follow the updates on the stories. And then it says, how has Venezuela reacted? Venezuela's Vice President Delcy Rodriguez said the government did not know where Maduro and his wife, First Lady Celia Flores, were and demanded immediate proof of life for them both. The country's defense minister, Vladimir Padrino Lopez, claimed the strike hit civilian areas and said the government was compiling information about dead and injured people. He added that Venezuela would resist the presence of foreign troops. Venezuela's government issued an official statement denouncing the extremely serious military aggression by the U.S. against Venezuelan territory and population in civilian and military locations. It has also accused the U.S. of threatening international peace and stability and described the attack as an attempt to seize Venezuela's strategic resources, particularly its oil and minerals, in an attempt to forcibly break the political independence of the nation. What has Donald Trump said? Immediately after the explosions, the White House declined to comment publicly, but Trump later took to his Truth Social platform to confirm the U.S. was behind the strikes. The United States of America has successfully carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela and its leader, President Nicolas Maduro, who has been, along with his wife, captured and flown out of the country, Trump wrote. This operation was done in conjunction with U.S. law enforcement, details to follow. The president described it as a brilliant operation to the New York Times in a 50-second phone call. Asked what he envisioned for Venezuela, he said, "You're going to hear all about it at 11 o'clock. Now, again, you guys can follow this story. I'm following it. And you might ask, why am I bringing this up? Number one, it's important to our region. For those of you who may have been asleep in school when they were talking about the purchase of these areas, we had a large-scale refinery here on St. Croix. We are strategically located in the Caribbean, and we have seen, especially on the island of St. Croix. I don't know about in the St. Thomas, on the island of St. Thomas, but we have seen lots and lots of military ship activities in the waters, in these Caribbean waters, and we knew that something was going to pop off, no pun intended. But this is extremely important because not since it's also being reported, or a gentle reminder, it hasn't been, the last time the United States has been this aggressive was in 1989 when they went in Panama for Manuel Noriega. Is Noriega here name, right? And the United States, and back in, I remember in I looked it up because I couldn't remember the year, the United States had invaded Grenada as well. And this kind of force and show in this region is not typical. And while you may think the president of a country is a criminal, you wouldn't see the United States using force to go move Putin or the leaders of China or North Korea. They ain't gonna use force and bring them here. But because this South American country isn't a superpower, in air quotes, so to speak. The United States is using force. It is what it is. The United States, Trump wants the oil. Venezuela is oil rich. Seizing control of that helps, those who are in that oil business, the millionaires and the billionaires to become trillionaires and whatever it is after a trillionaire, and who controls the power and the resources, controls the market, so to speak. And this is nothing more than the United States wanting to control the oil that is coming out of Venezuela. And it is very interesting as well because, if they're going to do it to this country that's, large in size and, has a president that is outspoken, that hasn't, for all intents and purposes, like kowtow to the United States, it I don't think, while there will be no more action in Venezuela, I think that we need to be concerned because they found oil in French Guiana and I think in Suriname, those two little countries right up there on South America as well. And they are super small compared to Venezuela. And there are disputes currently with one of those nations and it's Venezuela as well, about whose territory it is and the oil that's found there. And oil, a lot of wars have been fought for the control of oil. Oil is a commodity. Oil is something that's used every day, big business. That is how machinery, that's how things work here, right? And this is what this is. And the United States and this president has demonstrated that the standard operating procedures manual isn't valid now. Like how you're supposed to behave, how you're supposed to engage with a foreign nation, that whole handbook is out the door now. And that this president, with the either the vocal support or the silent support, because they're gonna remain, if they're silent and not calling him out, that means they're complicit. He's allowed to make these decisions. We have all watched TV and see the stories, and we've watched news, and we know that there are programs that talk about what the United States and the CIA and these Delta forces and all of these elite units, what they do and how they do it, and they go in and they come out and people don't ever know that they're there. And the United States has always involved itself in foreign nations to protect the quote unquote the United States interest, but they don't go in and they don't create the issues, and then nobody thinks it's them, and then they come in on their white horse and save the day. And Trump is like, hey, I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna do this, I'm going to say he's a drug dealer, he's a terrorist, blah 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 blah, and I'm just going to kidnap him to have him to face charges.
We have top of the hour.
We're at the top of the hour. I'm going to pause. Before I pause, Jen, I want to say the United Nations was created. There's charters. There's rules for engagement. And I don't know that the United States care about these long-term arrangements with the whole rest of the world in this modern time. Let's take a station ID at the top of the hour. Go ahead, Jen.
Find us on the World Wide Web at www.wstxradio.com. WSTX AM and FM stream all countless reggae and Virgin Islands news, talk, calypso, and probate 24/7, 365 on www.wstxradio.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. WSTX, the soul of the Caribbean.
It's a Caribbean Christmas from AM 970 WSTX.
There you go. You're on.
Okay, and we're back. If you guys are just tuning in, you're at 970 AM WSTX radio.com, or you're following me on my Just Jamila Facebook page. Please note, and I will share it on my Facebook page. I'm gonna have to have you like, follow, and subscribe to Just Jamila on YouTube, because we will be using that platform in 2026 for my Just Jamila show. So please feel free to like, subscribe, and follow the Just Jamila. Search for me. There's a picture of me. I think the picture I used was when I was doing the election night coverage on Channel 12. Channel 12 gonna tell them copyright infringement. I think that was Channel 12. No, they won't do me that, I don't think. But Channel 12, Sincere took a really good shot of me, and so I'm using a picture from Sincere from Channel 12 because it's a very pretty picture. It's a professional shot. So you'll see the picture of me. Like, follow, subscribe to the Just Jamila channel on YouTube. All right. So this is, let's call it what it is. This is about the control of oil. And when I say that the standard operating procedures has gone out the door, and while this matters to me on a whole, because I'm interested in international politics, I'm interested in national politics, I'm going to be interested in seeing how the other superpowers respond to the actions taken by the United States, if statements are going to be issued by other leaders, because this begs the question, if you're going to do it to them, what make you feel you're going to come to do it to us? Some of them going to be like, well, they ain't going to come to do it because just like how they have guns, we have guns. But then there's going to be other countries and nations that aren't as equally yoked in firearm power as the United States. They're going to be like, this is wrong. There's a process that you should follow. And nobody knows if President Maduro is alive, if his wife is alive, whether or not, and typically it has been that whether or not you like the president that's elected in a nation, you don't kidnap them and remove them. You don't go in, you don't cause political unrest, and then you don't use the CIA black money to get the person you like elected. And, but this is a whole different ball game, and it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. It's also going to be very interesting to see the kind of increased military activity that's going to be happening in the territory and in Puerto Rico. And you'll get a sense as to what's happening based on additional military presence here. There may be the reopening of the military base in Puerto Rico. I don't know, but we will be seeing, and I'm sure after 11 o'clock Eastern time, which is 12 o'clock home, most of you might have already been heading down to the parade route, but you'll come home and find out what additional stuff will be happening with Trump and Venezuela. And Trump's actions speaks volumes to me as a Virgin Islander. And we're now we're in 3 days into 2026, and this is our election year. Albert Bryan is a true lame duck governor. This is the last year of his tenure as governor of the Virgin Islands. And, he is for all intents and purposes, a true lame duck governor, right? He's going to be giving us his final State of the Territory address sometime this month. And we're going to be going to the polls in November to elect the 10th elected governor of the Virgin Islands. And is it 10th, right? Yeah, gonna make me have to do the math again. Name the names. If I'm wrong, somebody just post it and tell me if I'm wrong. I don't know. I think it's a 10th. I might be wrong though. Yeah, the 10th. I had to do it in my mind, right? By naming all of them in my brain. And we're going to be going to elect our 10th elected governor of the Virgin Islands. And, you know, for anybody who's living under a rock, President Trump is petty. You know, he is he have all the ranks in the petty police department. You know, he is not only the officer, the colonel, the sergeant, the lieutenant, the captain, the corporal, the general, whatever. You know, he is petty, and he holds a grudge, and he will inflict and use the authority of his office to exact revenge, retribution, justice if he tells it against those who may have trespassed against him. He clearly don't believe in the Our Father prayer, right? And there is so many people who think that an existential threat isn't present in our territory, and that there isn't a mark, you know, like he ain't just holding out, like he don't have us on his little list. He does. And he has us on the list for what we know transpired. And he was impeached twice, and our non-voting delegate to Congress, who isn't a bona fide member of Congress, because you don't have any voting privileges on the floor, our delegate decided that to increase their own personal presence, that they lobbied to become part, allegedly lobbied to become part of the impeachment team, and did a phenomenal job. You know, let's give jacket. You know, she presented well, she argued well, you know, she lawyered well during those impeachment hearing, and, you know, made a name for herself during that hearing, which has inadvertently negatively impacted the territory. Because after that impeachment performance, which catapulted her to the darling of the Democratic Party, we were unable to get the party in power, the Democratic Party, to support, you know, she was unable to get them to support her in moving the agenda of the Virgin Islands forward. And like I said, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, I don't want any friends like that. Like, if I am your friend and I ride with you hard, and when I need you, you telling me wait, and so then you're my friend. But that's what happened. And as a result, you know, we have a target on, you know, on our backs, just a little bit, you know, just a little bit. And I know that as Virgin Islanders, we're not afraid. We're strong people. Like, we're not afraid of bullies. We ain't afraid of nobody. And we'll check a person, well, some of us, because some of y'all, when I get to proximity to power, y'all look kowtow and genuflect and do all kind of weird things. So, but most of us, we're okay with standing on what is right and what is principled, even if it costs us, right? And I don't want this to come across like I'm saying we need to kowtow to Donald, because we do not. But what we don't need to do is put somebody in a position to harm us when they have demonstrated that they don't love us. And you may be asking, oh, what are you talking about? When somebody loves you, they take care of you. They put, it's not about, in a union, and I've never been married, so I can't speak for married people, but, they say there's no I in team and all of that nonsense, right? You put the interests of the Virgin Islands first. And I can demonstrate time and time again where, starting with the MAP administration, there has been an undermining of who has been governor from the current delegate. It started with MAP, and then, I thought that, it would end. And in Albert Bryan's first year, in his first term, they came out with lacking of capacity and the undermining of the administration, because the delegate to Congress, people don't understand what that role is. And you need to read the bill that established the law, that the act of Congress that established this office, and the local law that created the framework for the delegate to Congress. This person is supposed to do the bidding of the territory as a whole proper, and lobby for and help us to get in the spaces that we need to get into, facilitate meetings, lobby with secretaries of government agencies, etc., and introduce legislation that benefits the territory. Make sure that when legislation is being passed on the national level, that if there's a benefit to be passed on, that the territory isn't excluded, because so often we are. That's the role of the delegate. And the current office holder has demonstrated that the needs of the people of this territory are second to their personal agenda. And I don't know a better way or a nicer way to put it. And there was truly, I've been consistent with this from the time they named her as an impeachment manager. I saw no value to the territory being brought. And the fact that we couldn't have legislation introduced because, due to the delegate's own words, her party was not, said that the timing wasn't right. Wait, we're gonna finally get to you. I don't like that. But in this era of Trump, it is clear that he doesn't let things go. And there's so many people gonna be like, oh well, what he gonna do, take away our federal money? Yeah, he could tie it up, he can delay it. And as we've all seen, a delay in funding can cripple us as a territory. And somebody called me and said, oh, you said it, and the delegate is telling us and telling, supposedly telling how people, oh, his friends are getting contracts here in the territory. His friends are here getting some of this federal work. Okay. In the grand scheme of things, if some of his friends gang walk here, that mean they gang walk other places. The pay from this territory alone ain't gonna make or break them. We're not saying that ain't gonna come. We're saying it's going to be delayed, and that's going to cripple us as a territory. And I'm not going to cut off my nose to spite my face. I'm done. You only need to tell me you don't like me once for me to know that you don't like, well, maybe twice, if it's a boy, but we have to be honest with ourselves. And I've had so many conversations with people who argue back and try to convince themselves that, Jamila, what you're saying doesn't make any sense, or what you're saying is wrong. And they take, a long time. And it's like, you're trying to convince me, you're having an argument with me, but truly you are trying to convince yourself that your support of or defense of is factual, warranted, is the right thing, because different. And the bottom line is what it is. Do I like it? No. Do I like that Trump is petty? No. Do I like that there could be retaliatory action if God forbid the unthinkable happen? Yes. But the fact remains is that the position that we're placed in wasn't Jamila that placed us in it. It wasn't you, the voters, that placed us in it. It was personal choices made by individuals who don't want to take accountability or responsibility for the decisions that they've made. And it is what it is. It is what it is. I didn't make the choice. I didn't make the poor decisions. And all of us make bad decisions. All of us make poor choices, but we have to own it and move past it. And I don't see that happening. And so as we move forward in 2026, everybody knows, there's a big three being called up running Tregenza. And I got on good sources today. No, not today. I got on good sources from last week's show to this week's show that Tregenza Roach, the current lieutenant governor of the Virgin Islands, he is going to officially toss his hat into the ring to be the 10th elected governor of the Virgin Islands. And him and Novelle E. Francis Jr. have come to the agreement. I don't know what they'll do if they shake hands, but they have cemented their decision to run together. I was told that I can share the information. I was told that it's not a secret. And so if y'all don't believe me, y'all see the lieutenant governor down on the parade route today, you could say, hey, Jamila said that you say you running with Novelle E. Francis Jr. and you running for governor and lieutenant governor. And 9 times out of 10, because the one time he might not have heard the question, I ask you to repeat it, but he's going to tell you that is accurate. So I know for certain that team has been formed and they're going to be on the parade route today. They should be walking up one side of the road, down the other side of the road together. I've also received solid information that Donna Fred Gregory is throwing her hat into the ring to run for governor of the Virgin Islands, and she has finalized the relationship, cemented the deal with her running mate, and I was specifically told we ain't telling you the running mate name because you might say it and we want to announce it, and because I guess it's not who I thought it was. I actually thought Donna was going to end up running with Novelle E. Francis Jr. So when I saw the poll that came out, I was like, oh, they got a wrong team. And I know for certain it's not Wayne Biggs. And, I really thought it was Novelle. And then it's not Novelle. And then they tell me, and I'll just tell you, they haven't told me because I was going to come on here today and tell you who the running mate is, because, you know, what the secret is. Tell me so I can share it. But as soon as I know, I will, maybe I won't like blot out the name if they tell me, but I gonna give y'all some, I will describe the person to the T that I would know who it is. Okay? And then they can't say that I say, but I will lead you to the trough, you know, and I just have to drink out of the drink out of it. All right. So as soon as I know, I gonna know. And don't worry, I walking again to know, you know, because it almost slipped yesterday, you know, because I called. I ain't gonna lie. I called. I said, hey, Donna, how are you? And she's like, I'm good, Jamila. How are you? I was like, I'm good. I just called to wish you a happy new year. You know, people tell me to see you down the road walking with, and she almost let it out. I was like, who that was? And then she was like, Jamila, I tell you, I'm not telling you because you're going to go on your show tomorrow. She was like, maybe Sunday I'm going to tell you. And I was like, man. So Sunday I'm going to call her, which is tomorrow. And as soon as I know, I'm going to let y'all know. So y'all could tell me if y'all want me to continue to pursue the information, and if y'all want me to leak it exclusively on my YouTube channel. That's what I'll do. I'll find out, and you have to like, subscribe, and follow to my YouTube channel, and I'll tell y'all when I find out who her running mate is. So that's the second team. And then it's being reported from people to call me and tell me that the delegate wants to run for governor of the Virgin Islands. However, in light of the Epstein release, the distancing a lot of her alleged sponsors and supporters, that's how the Roach Francis team get lined up, that the people who were initially going to support the delegate have decided that they're going to throw their full support behind of the lieutenant governor, especially if he was able to get Novell E. Francis Jr. on the ticket. Novell E. Francis Jr. has agreed to run with Novell E. Francis. Novell E. Francis Jr. has agreed to run with Tregenza Roach. And as a result, a lot of the big sponsors that were originally going to be supporting the current delegate, they're going to be throwing their financial support behind of the current lieutenant governor and Novell E. Francis Jr. And I've also been receiving reports out of the St. Thomas district and from St. Croix, and people who are in the know, that the delegate was waiting to see which other text messages gonna make it out of the and which ones will be highlighted, because it's a lot, and clearly the weight tells you that one day wasn't the only text that could not have been the only text message that she got from Epstein, and clearly they have especially if you have an Apple phone, you have these text threads that are going on for a long time. So they have these text threads that have existed, and it will come to light that text messages happened before, maybe happened after, allegedly. I have to make sure I say allegedly. And there's concerns that that it will be revealed that it was just not a one-off text. And I think most people in the Virgin Islands, most of us know that it's not a one-off text. I mean, we all live here. We all know that if you worked at the EDA and while you may not have given them, you may not have been involved in the certificate approval, the fact that you went to work for his counsel, which everybody has a right to an attorney. She went and got a job, but you went to work for the person that introduced you to him, that there existed a relationship. All of us know that a relationship on some level had to exist. Nobody who's just providing you information about Trump and Cohen gonna comment about how you look. it doesn't make any sense. And so I think that we know that her relationship existed long, maybe, existed long before, maybe long after what we know to have been publicly revealed. And so we'll see. And apparently she's waiting to see how much damage has been done. But when you walk the streets, and I haven't been home for a minute, but when you talk to people, the glow and the admiration and the pedestal, and that's why I keep telling her, I stop putting people up on pedestal. Has waned, and how people would flock, and y'all like to follow up behind people and try to chuck up yourself in place where people don't want you. But that adoration, oh, you've been on TV all this time, like those opportunities are drying up and all of that. And so I think that some people are saying that she's going to make another run for Congress so that she's able to redeem herself on the national level and become, what Jasmine Crockett is now, which is the darling of the Democratic Party. I don't know how true that is, because some people, when they get to proximity to power, they like to have more and more power and more adoration. But we'll see. Rumors had it that her initial running mate was supposed to be Calvert White, but then he then a little sticky situation, and her second choice, or her backup plan, her plan B, is maybe Milton Potter, and then there's some other names being floated around from the St. Thomas district as well. And so we'll see if somebody or anybody decides to run with her in light of what has come to pass with the Jeffrey Epstein. And I had an interesting conversation this past week with several people, and they were like, oh, well, Epstein was friends with everybody in the district, and Epstein, people have phone calls with him and people. And I'm like, I am sure that, it is clear that he could not have been able to do what he did if good people didn't turn a blind, or supposed good people didn't turn a blind eye to his activities. And we as Virgin Islanders might be appalled by some of the people who were his friends, some of the people who wanted to go over to his island. But I tell people all the time, people like to want to be in ting. You can't just go to the concert and be in the regular schmegler section because you can afford it. You're going to try to, if somebody tell you, oh, all you have to do is this a little bit and you're going to get in the VIP and you're going to be able, people going to do it. That's like human nature. A lot of people will do it. And we are no different, and we're not an exception to the rest of the world or to human behavior. So we do it. And there's a lot of people who are there's a lot of people who like being close to this proximity and would have done anything to be there. And like I told one person today, when I meet my maker, he gonna ask me about, Jamila, what about so and so? He gonna ask me about what I do. And so if you're good with what you're doing and you're comfortable, or when you go to meet your maker, you're able to answer the question he gonna ask you, go right ahead and do you. I know that when I meet my maker, I want to be able to say, listen, if somebody did something wrong, I try to call it out. If I know people harm children, I wanted them buried under a bus, or under the ground. I am okay with taking that stand. And anybody who wants to defend and wants to deflect, that is fine. But I'm just saying, when I go to meet my poly, when I go to the poly gates, and I hope I get to the poly gates that they set, I want to be able to look my God in the face and say, I tried to live right by the laws of you, and some of the laws are man. Not all of the laws are man, but some of the laws are man. You know, but anybody else who wants to defend the actions taken by our current delegate, that's fine. And you know, everybody's like, oh, and if she decide to stay and run again for Congress and try to redeem herself, none of the supposed candidates have a chance in hell to unseat her. I don't think that's the case. I think that you know, there potentially will be some good people, some smart people running for delegate to Congress. I've already heard 4 names that potentially could be running for Congress, and I'm not saying them in any order. I'm just gonna call them as I remember them. And the first one I'm gonna remember is Shelley Moorhead, because he just logged on. Good morning, Shelley. Shelley Moorhead, he's running for Congress. He's from St. Croix. The other one running for Congress is Terry Helenese. She's from St. Croix as well. And then there's Janelle Sarro that's running to Congress as well. And then the last one, some that you haven't heard, and somebody who stood up against Epstein. And I think that if the delegate does remain in the race for delegate to Congress, I would love to see this person debate her on the Epstein issue, and that is Denise George, the former Attorney General. They said that Denise is going to be running, Attorney Denise is going to be running for delegate to Congress. And when I heard that, like I like Shelley, I like Terry, I like Janelle, but I like them. And when I heard Denise, for some reason, I felt a little excitement. And I don't know if it's because I know that Shelley running, Terry running, and Janelle running, and I know them, but there was like a little pulse of excitement when I heard Denise. I was like, would not have thought of that. And I think the excitement came from, you know, that's not somebody you would think that would be involved in, would be interested in running for political office, but it's very interesting if it runs out that way. I do think that even if the delegate stays in the congressional delegate seat race, that I don't think that she's a sure shot to win. I think that I think that she will be defeated. I've been wrong before, and I may be wrong again, but I honestly think that Delegate Plaskett, even if she stayed, and people think that the delegate seat is a sure seat for her, I think she will be defeated in that seat. I think that she has, she's been injured. She has not delivered on campaign promises in the position that we've elected her in. She has not demonstrated that she's going to fight for the people of the Virgin Islands. And somebody said, oh, she's a fighter. And I said, she's not a fighter for people. She's a fighter for herself. She's a fighter to be seen and heard on a national level. She doesn't fight to move the Virgin Islands people in a direction of prosperity and where people can live a better life here in the territory. She doesn't fight for that. She fights to get on television. She fights to be seen by the party, which is why she ended up knocking on Jeffrey Epstein's door, because she was trying to raise money for this Democratic group so that you could, be seen in a better light by those individuals within the party. As a newcomer to the party, because remember, she used to be she worked for a Republican before. I don't know if she was a registered Republican. There's stories that said that she was a registered Republican, but she worked for Republicans before. So coming off of that, I think that she wanted to show that she's a real Democrat and wanted to look good within the party and rise to the ranks, and get on these national platforms, which she did, and she did so successfully. But the people of the Virgin Islands did not benefit from her increased limelight. We get nothing for it. All right. So, but even if she runs for and remains in the congressional race, I think that we will get a new delegate, and it will be either Shelley, Terry, Janelle, Denise, and it will be one of those four that will emerge successful against the delegate to Congress. I think that the people of the Virgin Islands, we have seen, and when I have these discussions with people, the people of the Virgin Islands, we're just a little bit tired of the tomfoolery. We're tired of people pretending to be one way in public, and then behind the scenes they're completely a different way. Show up as your authentic self all the time, and we gonna either like you or we ain't gonna like you, but be you. All right. Jen, that was somebody wanting to say something to me.
Say it again.
No. Oh, I thought I hear you saying something. Okay.
No, let me see. Hold on. You had a call. Let me see.
Calling me.
Mr.
You could call back. We're taking a call now. They hung up, right? They hang up. You all can call back 773-0390, 773-0490. Oh, my good friend Dr. Edward Brown said the acquisition of Greenland is more than likely next. That is interesting because he does want Greenland. But I think that it's different to go after people. Dr. Edward Brown. Greenland is totally Caucasians. Venezuela is Latin people, while they have white Latinas. More than often they're like brown. They mix up, and so they have like a mixed population. So it's easier to go into a quote unquote country where all of the people don't look white than it would be to go after Greenland. I think that he will meet some resistance, but with him, you really don't know what's happening. We're just gonna have to wait until the 11 o'clock hour to figure out from the president of the United States about what's going on. Let me see if they update anything on the BBC, which I'm getting through the WTJX app, because some of these places have paywalls. Okay, so 9 minutes ago, it was updated, and the Attorney General for the United States, Pam Bondi, says that Nicolas Maduro has been indicted in New York on drugs and weapons charges and will face the full wrath of American justice on American soil in American courts. And then Venezuela has declared a national emergency, denouncing extremely serious military aggression. And yeah, this is very, 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 very this is very troubling. And I think we all, well, those of us in the Virgin Islands who follow, well, yeah, yes, Shelley, but okay, so yes, thank you, Shelley. This is why I have to love Shelley. So the Inuit people, they have indigenous people to Greenland, but Greenland is occupied, and I guess I should say controlled by a Caucasian, and a lot of the settlements there are people who look like the Donald is, I guess I should have properly describe it. So the native people, just like the native Alaskans, don't look pure white. It's pronounced it. Shelley, am I saying it right? Inuit. But they are who has control of Greenland now? Iceland is one of them Norwegian country. And that's what I'm thinking. Like, he wouldn't go after what is deemed his yeah, it's Danish, it's Denmark. And Denmark is a predominantly white country. Iceland is Denmark, Jamila. Denmark. So, but the native, just like the Indians were native to the United States before the people then come over, the people of the people of Greenland are, their tribe is called Inuit. I know I'm pronouncing it wrong. And they don't look white. You could tell like they had black genes flowing through them at one point. And Shelley's telling me that the Lansing Declaration in the 1916 treaty with the Danish West Indies make Greenland important to the USVI. Denmark controls it. Yes, we know that. Yeah, we know that. Yeah, I keep saying Iceland instead of Denmark. Oh, see, I have my two doctors. Well, Shelley isn't a doctor, but it's Shelley is a historian and has studied the USVI history for a long time, and so has Dr. Edward Brown. And sometimes when I have questions, I could hit them up, ask them. And so let me ask both of you, y'all really think that he would go after Greenland and risk those European nations being upset with the US for their military aggression? I don't see it. I see him having power for people of color. I don't see him going after people that look like him or countries where leaders look like him in the same way. But, you know, I can be wrong. Edward thinks it. Yeah, Dr. Brown thinks so. Well, we'll see. I'm trying to understand. And what's the end game to that, though? Just about the resources? There must be something else besides, I don't know. So I'm trying to understand what do you think his end game would be? Okay, so Shelley is saying if Trump goes after Greenland, it destabilizes U.S. rule in the USVI. The treaty is now operational because of Trump's repudiation of the Lansing Declaration in March 2025. Total domination of the Western Hemisphere from Greenland to Argentina. And that is how Hitler rose to power in Europe when nobody stops and checks him. That, you know, that those two guys, that's an interesting perspective. What I'll do, Shelley and Dr. Brown, is next week Saturday or the following Saturday, wherever Saturday I are available, but within the next 2 weeks, while this topic's still hot, well, it's gonna remain hot for a minute, but let us link. I'll send out an invite so that we can have this discussion, because I think so many people don't understand the importance. And I don't know why I keep saying Iceland in my brain. I keep saying Iceland, and the Virgin Islands were never under Iceland rule. I don't even know why I'm thinking Iceland today. You know what it is? My mother's TV is on and there's a documentary. And when you're watching documentaries, even though the TV is on mute, you know how you have on the closed captions? I need to stop. Your brain. It's Jamila Afifa at Gmail, Shelley. Let me see if I could type it in here. It's Jamila. So Shelley wants my email address. Jamila Afifa at Gmail. What is it? At Gmail. Where is the at sign? At Gmail. All right. So I'm gonna invite Shelley and Dr. Brown on, and we'll talk about what's happening in Argentina, what possibly could happen in in Greenland, and its potential impact on the territory, and where we should be going from here, and what we're thinking about as we move forward. But I do know that 2026 is an important election for us as a territory. And then somebody tell me how one last gubernatorial team. So I told y'all what I heard so far. So I can officially announce that Tregenza Roach is running with Novelli Francis Jr. That's team 1. Team 2 would be consisting of Donna Fred Gregory and whoever her running mate is that she did not tell me, that I'm going to try to find out tomorrow when I'm going to call her. And I'm going to ask her. And when it does, I'm going to leak it on my YouTube Just Jamila channel. So you need to like, follow, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can get updates when I post a new video. And then the third team was, well, it was supposed to be Stacey Plaskett, but School Children says that apparently she is waiting to see what other information will come out about her alleged friendship with Jeffrey Epstein. Because when you say relationship, people think different. So alleged friendship, I don't even know what to call that, with Jeffrey Epstein. And she's attempting to win back her big money donors who realize that should she throw her hat in the ring, that if they were involved and were found in records, that the Republicans were going to have a field day and just share all of her information. Everything about the Virgin Islands is going to be coming out. And then I also heard that Dwayne DeGraff and Franklin Johnson supposed to be running together. I don't know that that's happening, because I've heard Senator DeGraff say he's running back for the Senate, and I've heard Senator Johnson say that. But they do have a very good relationship for the entirety of the time I've seen them together in the legislature. So I don't know. And if they run, they would come across as the team that's anti-establishment, anti-being controlled by the Democratic Party and the Democratic bigwigs. So we will see if that comes to come to see if that comes to fruition as well. But that's the rumors. Then I went on Facebook this morning and I saw messages from Adla Fanzi Donna Stork. He has run unsuccessfully multiple times, but I think he's running. I haven't spoken to Fanzi about this, so I can't confirm, but clearly based on his messaging on Facebook, I think he's going to be throwing his hat in the ring. So you also have Adla Fanzi Donna Stork. So, but this election I think will be won during the Democratic primary. So when you declare in May, you have June, July, and then the Democratic primary with the first Saturday in August. I think that whoever emerges as the Democratic nominee, unless there's a really, really good independent team running, that team gonna probably be the 10th elected governor of the Virgin Islands. All right. Oh, Shelley Moorhead says Benta. I haven't seen Oakland Benta anywhere. The last time I saw Oakland Benta, he was over in St. Thomas at the legislature building for not this last session, but the session before. And he don't really like me, and he don't really have like a relationship like that. I mean, if we see each other, we have a conversation. I don't have his number, or maybe I do have his number, I don't know. But I haven't seen him, nor have I heard that he's going to be running. So I don't know. But Shelley Moorhead said Benta question mark. I did, Shelley. I type it. It under. Yeah, it's Jamila Afifa at Gmail. I typed it as a comment. I posted it as a comment. So Marcelino Ventura Sr. is telling me that Argentina has a very large population who migrated there after the Nazi regime fell. Yeah, that is true. That's true, because a lot of them flee because they had no extradition or whatever that's called, right? And he's saying that this would be one of the most consequential elections in a while. I think you're absolutely right, but I don't think all elections are consequential. But this one is very important because, while Ken Map had get the, if we think about it logically, Ken Map started the first billion in recovery money under this administration. That number ballooned, and they're rushing to issue contracts to assign contracts to people so that the next governor don't really have the control to spend the money, which don't make sense to me about the rushing of all of these contracts. But this next governor is going to be in office when true work and the recovery works happen. You hear the governor talk about completion of a lot of smaller projects, but this next governor of the Virgin Islands, we need somebody in that will healthcare to me. I can be wrong. I know people gonna come and talk about agriculture and education, and all of that is all well and good. But if you're sick, you can't do nothing. And I think that our healthcare infrastructure is going to be if not number one priority for the next governor, it has to be number two. It can't even be the third priority. So our healthcare infrastructure has to be looked at. And that's why it's important. People don't realize that a lot of our issues in the hospital as well with billing and reimbursements is that we aren't being treated the same way with the federal payments for Medicare and Medicaid services that come down to the territory. We have here in the territory one group that have us in a chokehold when it comes to negotiating for doctors, VI Equicare, y'all like them, whatever, but it's tough. The insurance companies have told you that it's an issue with VI Equicare, but when we like people or people come and say, oh, did this, did that, it'll come like a whole different ball game. And we need to get serious about our healthcare system, and we can't have one group negotiating and then, driving up cost of services. People, healthcare is, if you're not insured, is unaffordable. We do have insurance for all, because if you're sick, you go to the hospital, whether you have insurance or not, they're gonna have to take care of you and before they discharge you. And so we technically do have healthcare for all here in the territory. It's just that then the hospitals have this huge uncompensated care cost that they have to eat year in, year out. But there's also a lot of poor management decisions being made in the hospitals. The purchasing of basic supplies. Maybe those items need to come out from. And I was having a discussion. I was having a discussion after one of my shows. Okay, give me 1 second. And we'll talk about healthcare after. Let's go to the call because it's now. We have 5 more minutes, so let me take the caller real quick. Go ahead.
Go ahead, caller.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I couldn't hear. Yes, Jamila, I know the time is fast spent, but I just would like to say that the advice that I would give Potter, well, I don't need to give it to White now because he brought his own goose to a foreign market. But the advice I would give him is to stay where he is in the legislature and do not study Brooklynite State. He will have full wrath. Okay? These people have become so emboldened, and as Trump would say, he could kill a man on Fifth Avenue and nothing happened. They feel the same goes for them. Maybe they have a point, because there's a group in the Virgin Islands that call themselves, that I call, dominant Democrats. And they will put the worsest of the worsest to run the government. because that person would probably do for them that
Mhm.
a righteous person would not do. So
Mhm.
go again and get home safe and Happy New Year. Bye.
All right, thank you. All right, like I said, it is going to be a consequential election. I think that healthcare would be a priority, and it remains a priority for us. I personally think that even if our current delegate runs for delegate to Congress, that she's not going to win. I think that um, a lot of people in the Virgin Islands, you may not say anything publicly, you may not be brave like me and say something publicly, but I think that even if she remains and says she's going to run again for delegate to Congress, that she's not going to win. And so many Virgin Islanders remember what they did to Sean Michael Malone, what they did when she ran, and to have that the text messages and all of this information come out to prove what so many of us knew to have been the case when Sean ran for delegate to Congress, and what they did to him. It speaks volumes. You can't win at any cost. And God don't sleep and God don't slumber. And so, like I said, God will only ask me about me when I meet you. And if y'all good with answering whatever questions y'all need to answer, then go right ahead. Figure out your excuse for what you're going to tell God when God come asking you the questions. I good, right? But the election is, yeah, yep. And so my friend Marcelino Ventura says healthcare is not just about a hospital. We're in need of specialists like neurologists, trauma oncologists, cardiologists. And while I agree with that, I agree that we do need some specialties. But the fact of the matter is that we have few options, because somebody who went to med school isn't going to come to a small community where they're not going to make the money. But what we do need to do is we have to be creative in how we provide healthcare to Virgin Islanders. We have to have agreements with those oncologists, those cardiologists, where we bring them here on a rotating schedule, or you have the telemedicine where they're on call in the hospital virtually for like follow-up visits and stuff like that. We have to expand maybe our physician assistance program. There's creative ways that we can augment. We do have the Cancer Institute in St. Thomas, and we have the Cardiology Center on St. Croix. And you can, if you build both of those up, people will come. And if you staff it with good doctors, you can have medical tourism in the Virgin Islands, where somebody may not be able to afford to go all the way to the States in the Caribbean because they don't have family, but they could get to come to the Virgin Islands and provide those kinds of services. But we have to begin to think outside the box. And in order to do so, you have to talk to people who are willing to make tough decisions and live with the decisions that they've made. So that being said, and there's not a lot of people who will make sacrifices for the people. I will continue in 2026. My pledge is to continue being just Jamila. I don't know how to be anybody else. I'm going to continue to stand up for what I believe in. I'm going to continue to advocate for the people that I love and the islands that I call home, the islands that I love. And if I feel that somebody is an enemy to the territory, I will stand up and fight against our enemies, foreign and especially domestic, in protection of my people, my home, my islands. And I don't know how to do so in any other manner by being just who I am. And I am happy to be just Jamila. I'm thankful for all of the lessons learned in 2025. I thank all of you who rock with me, who does be mad with me, cuss me out this week, love me next week. I appreciate all of you. And while I am streaming this first Saturday of the new year on Facebook. You're going to have to like, follow, subscribe, and get notified on my YouTube channel so that you can continue to watch the Just Jamila platform. And this year is going to be super excited, and we're going to manifest all of the greatness that exists within all of us. I want to thank you. I want to thank WTJX for providing me with the news clips. You can go on their news feed and follow the story. They're going to, I'm sure, be broadcasting the president's press conference on the PBS. Continue to watch, to share. And until next Saturday, where I will be broadcasting from the beautiful studios in Gallows Bay. This is Jamila saying bye-bye. Love you guys. Wait. Flights cancel. Wait, Jen, don't go yet. How flights cancel? How our flights cancel? How our airspace shut down? Wait, I need to get home. Hello?
Only you can do that, you know. You
Okay.
got the tell and the thing.
Okay, let me go. Let me figure out what's going on here. Love you guys. Bye, Jen.